It is based on automotive industry standard AIS 197. The concept of this entire program is to create an ecosystem for enhancement of safety, and which will ultimately lead to increasing consumer awareness. Now, once the vehicles with different star ratings are available with him, based on his financial might, he can make a comparative analysis as to which vehicle is more suited for his requirement. It also means a lot to the OEMs who will be manufacturing vehicles of global safety standards, which will be both useful in the Indian market as well as in the global market. So far as I will be telling you something about the details of the program, but this program will be anchored by Central Institute of Road Transport, and this program has been devised after stakeholder consultation with all the stakeholders, be it the OEMs, testing agencies, component manufacturers, everybody for that matter. Now, there is a need for regulatory standards to evolve with time. As you all know, the vehicle speeds are increasing. Beyond vehicle type approval, there is a need which is felt for improving the standards of inspection and maintenance. Ministry is also coming up with end of life and scrapping of older vehicles, so we must have world-class standards so that all new generation vehicles are of better standards, or rather world-class standards. The safety assist technologies, be it electronic stability control, automatic emergency braking system, airbags, are being introduced, and it will have a positive impact. It has been observed that it has a positive impact in terms of accidents. Now, the last point is that we must encourage innovation, and this can only happen if the standards are raised. Now, the standard, there is a important point here. Earlier, it was the entire process was regulatory in the sense that everything was mandated by the government. Now, here by making it voluntary, it is the OEMs will take a step forward in creating better standards, and which will be of great use to the consumer. What are the steps we have taken so far? Everybody in the house is well aware, whether it is ABS, whether it is CBS, airbags for the driver, co-driver, seat belt reminder, and reverse parking sensor, to name a few. And then this is another initiative of passive safety, where we are trying to improve the sturdiness of the vehicle in terms of vehicle stiffness and additional safety technologies. Now, this is where India stands in the Global League for Vehicle Crash Test Assessment Program. Though it started off in US quite early as 1978, but then we can take pride in the sense that now we are also a part of the same league. Now, what is the readiness level and at this stage? First, let me tell you that infrastructure requirement for testing is ready. The manpower is being trained by the experts. Now, the testing agencies are well geared up for this entire exercise, and the standard AIS 197 is ready as of now. Though all of you know very well that standard is an evolving process and it grows with time as the realities change. But we are still working in the area of IT infrastructure, which will come up very soon, where the entire data at the worksheet for output worksheet will be displayed, and the standing operating procedure for stickers, etc., is yet to be worked out. Now, MORTH, as you are well aware, has been involved in finalizing the testing protocols in consultation with the various stakeholders. Now, the organization structure, the financing funding structure, all that has been finalized. CIRT will be an anchoring institution responsible for defining the operating procedures, which has again been evolved through consultation, and whatever are the test results will be, after a due process of approval, shall be displayed on the website. Now, the OEMs will be coordinating with CRT to initiate the whole process and take action based on the standard rating of cars. Now, I'll put the entire thing in the form of a process flow. After the OEM has nominated a vehicle model for getting it tested, it will be sent for vehicle selection, and through the NCAP representatives, and there the process of selection would be through random sampling. Now, thereafter it will be dispatched to the concerned testing agency, where the vehicle will be tested strictly in accordance with AIS 197, and then after assessing the result, result shall be validated by the team of experts, and then after the results are validated and approved by the standing committee, it shall be displayed on the website. And finally, the results will be published, and a certificate to the effect will be handed over to the applicant. Now, what are the areas of evaluation, and what is essentially being tested? Now, there are three areas. One is adult occupant protection, other one is child occupant protection, and third is fitment of safety assist technology. Now, to assess this, the adult occupant protection will be tested through the dummies, which will be placed within the vehicles in a format defined under the standard, and there 4 areas in the body, that is the head, the chest, the abdomen and the thigh, there the level of injury, force, deformation, etc. will be calculated, and after the results are formulated, then based on the injury criteria, some stars shall be awarded. Now, what are the tests? A similar process will be followed for a child occupant, and there will be a test for the assessment of safety assist technology. Now, all these three, the test will be essentially 2 for frontal impact through ODB, offset deformable barrier, the side impact test, and in 3 or 4 or 5 stars, it will be through additional test would be that of a pole side impact test. Now, the qualifiers for this, in terms of fitment of safety technologies, would be the fitment of ESC, pedestrian protection, seat belt reminders, and then in 3, 4, 5 star pole side impact as well. Now, this is the, I have tried to capture 2 things here. One, which I have already stated, we started off from an era where the regulations were being mandated. Now we are creating a situation where we are requesting the OEM to voluntarily come forward to get their vehicles tested. And then what is our aim in the future? Our aim is to narrow and bridge down the gap between Indian standard and global standard, and have complete global alignment. Now, an indicative list, this is not something which government immediately wants to do that. I was just contemplating that in future we'll have active safety systems like 360-degree vision, automatic emergency braking system, lane departure warning, and in the passive area, full frontal crash, oblique pole side impact, rear impact protection, and again for specific tests for EV and alternate fuel risk mitigation. So thank you all. Namaskar and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Shri Sharma. Ladies and gentlemen, today here in our midst is the President of the Society of Indian Automobiles Manufacturer, Shri Vinod Agarwal. We shall hear from him a presentation on auto industry perspective. So please put your hands together and give a warm welcome.
Respected Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji. Respected Union Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways, General V.K. Singh ji, Secretary, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Shri Anurag Jain ji, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Shri Mahmood Ahmed ji, Superintending Engineer, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Shri Keshi Sharma. Chief Engineer ji, sorry. So, congratulations and so Sharma ji. And President towards Zero Foundation, Mr. David Ward, my colleagues from the industry, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning. In 2014, when Shri Gadkari ji took over the reins as Junior Minister for Road Transport and Highways, his vision was to make the vehicles that are manufactured in India the safest and most environment friendly. To my mind, as Indian auto industry, we are proud that we have come a long way as far as enhancing both passive and active safety features of our vehicles are concerned. In India, we have already adopted stringent crash safety norms for passenger vehicles, ranging from full frontal, offset frontal, lateral collision, and pedestrian protection test norms. In addition, to provide increased safety to the drivers and co-drivers, 2 airbags, anti-lock braking systems, anchorages for child seats have been introduced, including many other safety parameters, some of which are beyond the global safety standards also. Since India is also committed to improve the road safety through the UN Decade of Action Plan 2030, wherein we need to reduce 50% of the fatalities from the base year 2020. Indian automobile industry will closely work with Government of India in a holistic manner to jointly achieve this target. In this regard, there is a need to continuously focus on the 4 E's of road safety, which are engineering, education, enforcement, and emergency response. The need for more safer and robust vehicles for our roads are even more important in the present context, as we are now beginning to see long stretches of world-class road infrastructure being built across the length and the breadth of the country. We are also thankful that the Government of India has taken up the task to ensure removal of more than 1,000 black spots on our highways, which would bring down the road accidents by just changes in the road engineering. I assure you, sir, that Indian automobile industry will continue to develop and manufacture more safer vehicles, which would not only meet the regulated safety standards set by the government, but would be much beyond them. In this context, Bharat NCAP program being launched today by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways is a very timely and apt, as the safety star rating of the new passenger vehicles will go a long way in educating customers in making the informed purchase decisions, which would now be very, very strongly influenced by the safety parameters of the vehicle. A standardized evaluation method will also help customers compare safety rating of different cars and help them choose an appropriate model. As we have seen from the presentation of Sharma ji, a very, very comprehensive testing program has been devised. We are now happy to see that Bharat NCAP protocol developed is at par with global NCAP norms and would like to compliment the Government of India for launch of this safety rating program. This program will eventually help market forces push the vehicle manufacturers to offer safer vehicles with potential of bringing everlasting change in the attitude of customers during the purchase. The MOU being signed today between Towards Zero Foundation and the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways is a very important initiative which will ensure that robustness of the Bharat NCAP program continues to evolve in alignment with the global standards. Once again, I would like to thank the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways under the leadership of Shri Gadkariji for his great initiative, and let us continue to make our roads more and more safer. Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shri Agrawal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the endeavor of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways to ensure the success of Bharat NCAP by bringing together the auto industry, the component industry, as well as the perspective of the consumers in this forum. We shall now have a presentation on component industry perspective. Please join me in welcoming the representative from Automotive Component Manufacturers Association, Shri Vinny Mehta. Let's welcome him with a round of applause for this presentation.
Namaskar, sir. Honorable Minister Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, Honorable Minister of State General Dr. V.K. Singh retired, Anurag Jain ji, Secretary MORTH, Mahmood Ahmed ji, Additional Secretary MORTH, Mr. David Ward, President Zero Foundation, Vinod Agarwal ji, President Siam, President Designate ACMA Shraddha Suri ji in the audience, K.C. Sharma ji, Chief Engineer, MORTH, dignitaries amongst the audience, ladies and gentlemen. This is truly a momentous and a historical occasion. And at the outset, I thank Honorable Minister Gadkari ji. Sir, without your resolve to make the Indian roads, the Indian vehicles safe, and also the need to cut down on emission, this wouldn't have been possible. While this is a rating program, but today India is, and of course it gives stars, but today India is actually a shining star in the firmament. I express my gratitude to all the officials at MORTH and to all the AISC panel members, including experts from the vehicle industry, the component industry, the testing agencies, who have worked together in a very, very democratic fashion. We did have differences, but all thinking beings must have differences. But I must give credit to Additional Secretary and to Sharma ji for teeing this all together so well that today we have really a world-class protocol. And as Anurag ji said, I think in some ways this protocol is much better than a whole lot of global NCAP, and I do hope that they do adopt this program. And indeed, with one of the highest number of road accidents and fatalities in the world, this protocol was long overdue, and as an industry partner, ACMA is committed to take forward its implementation together with the vehicle industry. As we all know, the Bharat NCAP is a voluntary program, and we are indeed very, very well begun today. I believe that this will serve as a catalyst for creation of a globally harmonized and a competitive automotive market in the country. It will also lead to rapid adoption of safety technologies in vehicles and, of course, make them safer. This program will also enable consumers to make much more informed choices. And speaking from a perspective of the component industry, integration of safety features will stimulate growth in the entire automotive value chain, leading to increased production of technology-rich components, and also lead to more investments in our industry. And of course, investments create jobs. That's another advantage. It will also lead to increased opportunities for those component manufacturers, particularly those engaged in safety and vehicular electronics, such as manufacturers of airbags, seat belts, ECUs, sensors, electronic stability controls. Increased collaborations with OEMs and tie-ups with technology players will create opportunities for customized solutions in vehicles. And needless to say, it will lead to better export opportunities. I'm very proud of the fact that the auto component industry is a very export-oriented industry. Last year, we clocked a turnover of $70 billion, and we export almost 30% of our production. And indeed, standards should help the industry to penetrate deeper into the global market. And last but not the least, this will enable the suppliers to invest more in R&D and innovation. Secretary referred to this, not only for soft safety solution, but also, focus on newer areas such as new materials and composites and high strength steel and aluminum and other areas. And David referred to the NCAP being refreshed every 5 years, and I think in India too, with the data that we will create out of the NCAP tests, we will also create a positive reinforcement cycle, which will again lead to better vehicles. And in addition, I also see a plethora of other opportunities and benefits for the larger ecosystem. Increased awareness on safety will lead to better and safer driving practices, the driving practices of the way we drive on the road today. Reduced number of injuries and fatalities in road accidents will also lead to reduction in healthcare costs. We know our healthcare system is very, very stretched today. Insurance sector would probably be motivated to introduce lower insurance premiums or consider offering incentives on vehicles with higher safety ratings. So the opportunities are indeed immense, and I just hope that all of us as ecosystem players do sort of move in the right direction. So as I conclude, I once again assure Honorable Minister of ACMA's support and commitment to contribute to the cause of road safety and vehicular safety and remain engaged in the consultative process in the formulation of future phases of BNCAP protocol and towards all other safety initiatives of the ministry. Once again, my heartiest congratulations to all the stakeholders on this momentous occasion. The responsibility now lies with the industry to ensure a safer and an accident-free India. Thank you. Jai Hind. Namaskar.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta, for sharing that component industry perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the pleasure of having in our midst this morning Shri Piyush Tiwari, founder and CEO, Save Life Foundation. May I request him to kindly join us on stage and share the presentation on consumer safety perspective. Please welcome with a round of applause.
Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji. Honorable Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways, Dr. General V.K. Singh ji, respected Secretary Shri Anurag Jain ji, distinguished dignitaries on the dais and those present in the room. I wish to begin by congratulating the Honorable Minister and the entire team at the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways for this historic day today. We wholeheartedly welcome this initiative that is set to propel road safety in India. Well, we've all gathered to hear the Honorable Minister, so I'll keep my remarks extremely brief. I founded Save Life Foundation 15 years ago after losing a young family member to a road crash. It's a feeling that most of us are aware of, and it is to prevent that trauma and that feeling that we've all gathered in this room today, and it is for that very reason that the Ministry and the Honorable Minister has taken this entire initiative. One of the things that Save Life does today through its team is forensic investigation of crashes. And through those crashes, we discover various facets of road crashes, what caused the crash, whether it's a vehicle-related issue or a road infrastructure issue or a behavioral issue, and in many cases, a combination of all of these issues. This was mentioned by Honorable Secretary and also by Mr. K.C. Sharma as well as Mr. Ward, that US started its testing protocols, its vehicular safety many decades ago. And as we can see from this very popular graph on the internet, that there has been a remarkable drop in fatalities on the roads in the US with progression in vehicle safety norms that we have seen come about in that country. And what we are hoping for is that we will see this significant drop in fatalities as vehicle standards improve in India through this remarkable testing program being launched today. Talking about our crash investigation work very briefly, in many of the vehicles we have investigated, we have seen in nearly 2/3 of vehicles, passenger compartment intrusion playing a key role in fatalities. Of course, many of these vehicles are pre-2018, and many of the speeds of impact were more than 64 kilometers an hour. But it's a statistic worth noting because it's a significant cause of death and disability on our roads today. In many cases, we saw seat deformation, and in many cases, almost a third of cases, we have seen the common braking technologies like ABS, EBD, ESC missing. So therefore, the Bharat NCAP program, we believe, is going to be a game changer, not just by giving the industry honest feedback, but by boosting consumer confidence in while they're, they move ahead with their purchases. The transparency this will bring will, of course, the stickers showing the stars will, of course, play a significant role in the decision-making process, and we welcome that transparency wholeheartedly again. This was mentioned by the Honorable Secretary, but India-specific testing matters. We have very unique conditions, and we require cultural empathy while approaching what's the realities of our road conditions, the realities of our drivers, and the economic realities of our families and people who commute in our cars. Clearly a win-win. Of course, this will reduce fatalities and injuries. That's the hope. But most importantly, as we also saw in a picture shared by Mr. Ward, that this will enhance brand reputation. This will ensure that safety also becomes a key feature, a key selling point, in addition to all the the other technologies and other the looks and the design that we often see being promoted in these cases. An interesting point that I noticed while in the previous speeches is that this could enable India to become a hub not just for R&D but also for testing. We saw in the G20 ranking list that Mr. Ward showed that there are many G20 countries that are low on the vehicle safety rankings, and India could perhaps become the hub to test their vehicles with the evolved newer standards and similar economic and socioeconomic conditions that we see here. So moving forward, we heard about the regular updates to the NCAP. We welcome that very much. We hope this will lead to culture-specific research, not just to feed vehicle design, but also to drastically change the behavior of drivers. In many crash testing protocols, we have seen the use of child restraint systems, for example, and those tests could really boost the consumer, sort of perspective and move to invest in child restraint systems and invest in other safety-related systems overall. And finally, our hope is that the Bharat NCAP program will evolve to become a Bharat New Vahan assessment program, so that other vehicles, especially those that carry passengers like buses, will eventually also be subjected to crash testing and lead to better and evolved standards. Once again, thank you to the Honorable Minister and this ministry for this remarkable step today, and congratulations to everybody present here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing that perspective on consumer safety. Ladies and gentlemen, as the world looks towards India to take on world leadership, the initiatives of Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Government of India, become a shining and stellar example of exemplary leadership that only we, as a nascent and fast-growing economy, can provide. It is our privilege and honor to welcome such an exemplary leader in our midst here today. We warmly welcome General Dr. V.K. Singh, retired, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. May I request him to kindly address the august gathering. Please welcome with a resounding applause.
Our very dynamic Minister, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji. And I have no qualms in saying that if NCAP has come into being and practice, it's all because of him. Just give him a big hand, please. Our Secretary Mod, Shri Anurag Jain, our Additional Secretary Road Safety, Shri Mahmood Ahmed ji, Shri Vinod Agarwal ji, President CM, Mr. David Ward, the Foundation Head of Towards Zero, Shri Keshi Sharma, and all our distinguished guests who are present here, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here for a very important event which marks a single slot that probably will lead to great many changes in the way the industry functions as well as how the consumer will benefit from the NCAP program. NCAP program, I know of the effort that Gadkari ji has made over a period of time to convince the auto manufacturers as to what is good and what should be good where a human life is concerned. Human life, human being anywhere in the world has the same value. You can't distinguish that value from region, race, creed, whatever you may want to distinguish in. It has got the same value, and I think adoption and aligning of the global standards on NCAP makes it much more useful where India is concerned. Industry has been changing, and automobile industry today is the third largest in the world. And there are two events that I would like to narrate to you. DCM went into sort of a partnership with Toyota. And when the Toyota team visited the plant in Ropar, they were amazed when they went through the history. And they said this is a beautiful country to work in because the door handle which they used in the mini truck, it hadn't changed from the time that the manufacturing was taking place. No change. Same was the safety standards. When Maruti came into as a knockdown kit in India, the ecosystem started changing. And today the ecosystem allows you to export auto parts to all auto manufacturers in the world. Whatever they demand, it meets the world standards, it meets the world quality. Now that has come because of the ecosystem. And I think where safety is concerned and the safety equipment is concerned, this ecosystem needs to be given a boost so that we also are in line with not only global standards, but we are also exporters to anywhere in the world so that it can meet the demands that keep coming up as the soft safety norms become better and better. There is a need not only to protect life, need to ensure that the testing is done properly, need to ensure that the quality control is there, and people who say that it will cost money, if your production is large enough, you will actually save money. It is a question of what you want to do and what you want to put and to produce the best possible thing so that your margins increase because of the type of production that you will make. And the safer a vehicle is, the better it is for our roads, and we will save more lives because all these lives that we lose in this almost 130,000 people who have fatal injuries, these lives matter in the growth, in the GDP, and in the personal lives of anybody who's met with an accident. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.